Yo, what's up? What's up? In this video, we're going to talk about SES and making SES accounts. Now, the whole SES process is pretty involved, and so I'm going to try to break these videos up into small chunks that you can process and come back to when you need to brush up on some details. All right, so we need to start somewhere, so I guess acquiring and signing up for SES accounts is a good place to start. So let me open up WordPad here, Microsoft Word, and let's talk about the process of creating accounts. Let's give it a second here to load. All right. So I'm gonna try to wing it. I don't have any notes here. I'm pretty busy here, so I didn't have time to sit here and come up with a syllabus. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to wing it best I can. All right, so the first thing is Amazon SES. So you go into Google and type in Amazon SES. As you can see here, this is the site that you want to sign up through. And Amazon SES is just Amazon Simple Email Service. It's just an email service provider. All right, anybody can sign up. You can sign up. It's not a big deal, right? So you just come to AmazonSES.com and you're gonna click on Get Started with Amazon SES and create a free account. Now, when you create an account, the issue is that, well, what's going to happen is you're going to have to sign up for an Amazon Web Services account first. An Amazon Web Services account is completely different than Amazon SES, but you have to sign up with the Amazon Web Services. And Amazon Web Services is just a list of different services that Amazon provides, like hosting, it's a lot of technical stuff, but mostly related to like hosting and service and things like that. All right. So you got to sign up for Amazon Web Services account first, and once you sign up for Amazon Web Services account, then you'll go and move to Production Access. And let me just log in to of our accounts here. This is account in India. So I'm gonna try to make this video as short as possible, but there's a lot to go over. I just want to kind of give you a rundown of different accounts. All right. So if we log in here, once you create an Amazon Web Services account through the SES sign up landing page for Amazon, you're going to be directed to the SES area. And from there, this is where you're going to create a production access request. Now, anytime you sign up for email service provider service, they're going to want to know this information. And one of the things they're going to want to know is, what's your website? How many emails are you going to be sending per day, per month? We have some issues here. Sorry. How many emails you're going to be sending per day? How much you're going to be sending? Where did you get your emails from? They're going to ask all these questions and this information. So we have some issues signing in, so it's not that important. But let me go back here. So let's first start with the process. So there's production access request. And this is basically moving your account out of sandbox mode. All right, when you first sign up for an account, they're going to put your account in sandbox mode. And yeah, it's not working, so that's fine. I'll just go over this. All right, so when you first sign up for an account, they're going to ask you for a lot of questions. And they're going to want to know, where are you getting your emails from? Where are you getting your emails? How much are you sending per day? They're going to want to see, what's your website? What's your website, what you're sending per day. They're going to want to see a privacy policy. Let's see, on website. Terms and conditions on your website. Conditions on your website. They're going to see a sign-up form. And so this is goes to where you get your emails from. They're coming from a sign-up form on your website. That's what you need to say, right? So that means you need to have like a newsletter or some sort of newsletter or some sort of product, you're selling or giving away, because they're going to need to know how are you obtaining this contact information from these people. So you need to have something where these people on your site are signing up for and giving information to you. That's where it's coming from. All right. Obviously you need to have domain, you need to have hosting, and all right, you need to write production requests. So you need to tell them why are you signing up. So you have a production request, which is usually just, what we do is like give a little bio of the company and like a little background, and then answer all these questions like how are you getting your emails, how much you're sending per day, what's your website, and you need to go over certain things and let them know, that you're CAN spam compliant, that you have your own unsubscribe process, that you have your CAN spam compliant, meaning you have an address in your emails when you send emails out, and you have a way to unsubscribe people who click unsubscribe. You have a way to process bounces and complaints, and all emails are valid, or they are /real. All right, so this is the production request. Like I said, I don't want to get into the details because I don't have time to sit here and just give you every single detailed answer on what you should be doing. But just kind of use your common sense. All right, you basically what's happening here is you need to appear as a real company and sell yourself as someone who is collecting emails, valid emails. And this is the first. This is really not the first part of it. This is after you get in the door. All right, this is after you create the account, and I probably should have started there. But this is after you create the account. This is the things that you need to be answering and coming up with. You need to create a fake identity in a sense. All right, you need to answer all these questions, right? So imagine yourself as a real website that's getting emails. You need to be able to answer all these questions. How many emails are you getting per day? What domains? AOL, Yahoo, Gmail, in what proportion? We call these ISPs. What ISPs are you sending? Which is like Gmail, AOL, Yahoo. They're not going to answer that, but you get my point, is that if you're getting real emails, you may get like 50% Gmail, 30% Yahoo, 20% AOL. So you need to know that, right? I mean, you don't need to say that necessarily, but these are questions that you need to kind of, entertain. If you really have a real valid website with real emails coming in, you need to be able to answer these questions. And just appear as a real company and like you're really getting real emails opting in. And this is what we call the production access request. And this is the most important part of getting your account approved. Because even if you make an account, right? Even if you make an account, because I personally have made, probably over 100 accounts and over the past 2 years. And I would say probably only, 20% of them have gotten approved. But this is the most important part of getting your account approved. So once you get the account made, then this is really the part that matters. So majority of your time should be in creating a identity, all right, a identity of a site. And let's go over a couple of things as far as, and this is part of it, right? So there's other things too. So you have your domain, right? So if you're saying that, hey, I got a site, I'm getting, because what Amazon SES does is they actually go in and give you 50,000 daily send outright, no matter what you say. So even if you go in and say, hey, I'm, fucking getting, 1,000 emails a day, they're going to just automatically, approve you for 50,000 per day. So if you're getting 1,000 emails per day, 2,000 emails per day, right? And you have this website that you say that is yours or whatever. If the site is yours, right? And if you buy a domain, that domain has to be aged. Like you can't buy a domain yesterday, right? And then go apply for SES saying you get 1,000 emails per day. They can go and look at the whois information and, right? But you can go and look at the whois information. It's like, oh, you just bought this domain yesterday. So just an example, if you go to whois.com, and this is one of our domains here for our sending. So if I actually go in here, right, and click on lookup, water niche, SUIZA, click lookup, you can see when it's registered. So created date is 24/17. All right. So they know when the domain was purchased. So you can't just go in and buy a domain off the marketplace and then say I'm getting 1,000 emails per day, because they're like, wait a minute, that domain just was registered. So you can do there's a couple ways around this now. If you are using your own site, so we talk about you making, and you gotta excuse me for this being everywhere, but like I said, I didn't have time to sit here and make a syllabus. But you're making your own site, which is one way to do it. Your domain needs to be aged domain. And you can do that by going to the Namecheap marketplace or name.com marketplace, right? And you can do that and you can buy a domain from there. So if you go to Namecheap and you can go to, where is it at? Apps, domains. Yeah, domains marketplace. This is where you can buy domains, and you can sort, under $25, and you can just, sort by the price. Try to buy domains that are under $5, and I try to go with .com domains. If you can find one, .com or .org, whatever. Regardless of what you buy, the domain needs to be an aged domain, so it's been around for a while. Okay. It's just if you're making your own site, right? This is if you're making your own site from scratch. Make your own site from scratch. All right. And or name.com marketplace. Name.com has a marketplace as well. Go to name.com and you sign up. They have domains called deleting domains. And you can go here and buy, you need to make an account though. You can go to name.com marketplace and go to deleting domains. All right. Then you just have hosting. Whois information. So the domain as well. So the domain, you also have whois. So you might want to make this private. So get private registration. So you can't go and look up who owns it, the domain. All right. Because what it can do also is that it can look and see, as you can see here, we have whois guard. So this is called protection on the domain. So whois guard, right? So that's what it's called. You have whois guard. Usually it's free. It's free with most places. So you want to protect information. You don't want them looking up who owns the domain. Now, if you are getting this domain and information validly, like for example, you're using your own name. Cut this TV off here. If you're using your own name, your own information, and you're not, you haven't been banned before or whatever like that, then it's fine. You can go in and use your own information, and it's not a big deal. But if you're trying to hide who you really are, I would probably hide this, because when you go into to register for an account for name.com or Namecheap, they're gonna ask for your address, name, and everything like that. And so it's gonna have that personal information on your domain. So what I would do is just have this protected. Now you can always make up this information, right? You can go into your account, the name sheet, and if you log into your account and go to domains and click on manage, and scroll down, you'll see all the information here. You know, so you can edit this and change it if you want. You know, so but we just usually get who is information. Now, one thing I will say is leaving this open is actually a good idea if you're really trying to be open with SES. Technique I would do is like, you know, leave who is open and make sure the information used to create the SES account matches who is info. So let's say you're using your friend's name and information to create an SES account. You want to have his information on the who is. It just needs to match, right? Because what SES is going to do is they're going to make sure that you are who you say you are, and they want to make sure all this information matches up. And having this who is information open just gives an extra layer of, I would say, openness and transparency to who you are. And I think it really helps in getting your accounts approved. Because if you go in and registering, you know, with, Jason Thomas, for example, and you have on who is information, Jason Thomas as well, then it really looks good, right? But if it's a totally different information, totally different name, they may look at you kind of funny. But it's not really that big a deal if you're making your account from scratch. Sorry about that. Had to use the bathroom. All right. So yeah. All right. So wasn't sure what I was saying. But yeah. So this is if you're making your own site from scratch. Now hosting, it doesn't really matter. You can go to Namecheap. Anywhere, Namecheap, GoDaddy, etc., etc. It doesn't really matter. You know, you just need something to host your website. And this is usually around like $50 per month. You know, you can get an age domain for about, you know, $5. And then you just need to upload make your site. Now, you can do this yourself, or you can hire someone from Fiverr to make a site for you with all this stuff, with the privacy policy, terms and conditions, opt-in form, content, etc., etc. Or you can go to Upwork and you can try to get someone to do this for you. You just have to tell them everything you need. And, you know, they're going to need to find content. So maybe if you can go and find the content and you can get them content, and then you can talk to them how you want the site to be, because you're going to have to come up with the niche and the content that's going to be on the site, et cetera, et cetera. Or you can leave that up to the person who is doing the site. But the person who's doing the site not only is going to be making the site, but they're also going to be coming up with the content. Really depends on how you want to do it. Again, I really just say use your common sense how you want to do it. Just think about it. You know, if you don't want to sit there and find content and come up with a whole, plan for your fake company, you can try to hire someone to get this done. And this is probably could get done for, $100. But you would probably need to definitely direct them. All right. Because again, usually when you get someone to do a website for you, usually you have the content already written. Okay, they're just setting everything up. So you want someone to do the content as well. You need to tell them that. You need to let them know, like, hey, I'm looking for someone not only to create my site, but also get content from around the web and to create a newsletter and all that other stuff. Right. So maybe $100, $150. You can probably find somebody to do this. Again, this is if you're making a site from scratch. You can hire someone to do this. And that's pretty much it as far as like your site, if you're making it yourself. Now, if you're swiping someone else's site, so this is site from scratch. These are things you're gonna have to do, and these are questions you're gonna have to answer. Okay, you're gonna have to have your terms and condition, privacy policy. You're gonna have a link to your website. You're gonna have to know how much you're sending per day. You're gonna have to have a story about where you're getting your emails, which means you need a link on the site. Like a newsletter. So this is a site I'm working on now. Let's see if I can elegant. So this is a site I'm working on now from scratch. But as you can see, I have a newsletter here, and I have some content. And I'm still working on it, but you get the point, right? It needs to work. So you go ahead and click subscribe. It works. All right. So yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And if you are gonna do it yourself, or you can hire someone, you can use stuff like WordPress. I like WordPress, which is free. And you just upload WordPress and you just play around with the WordPress. And you can get free templates, free themes /templates. And you can actually tell them like, I want to use WordPress for my site. WordPress isn't the only thing to use. There's other. They call them CTS content. CMS, content management systems. So WordPress is a CMS, a content management system. There are other type of WordPress based platforms you can use, but WordPress is what I would recommend. All right. So again, all this stuff needs to be addressed in your site. You need to have a story, and everything must look real. Like it has to appear as if you're getting emails legitimately. All right, because what you're doing is you're mailing third-party data. All right. So what's going on here is, let me kind of go over this. There's first-party data, and that first-party data is real opt-ins to site. And second party, I'm not sure what the hell second party data. I think second party data is like co-reg data. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. It's like, I don't know. I have to look at that. I'm not sure. But third party data, all right, is third party data. It's you buying emails from someone else who usually is getting it from someone else. All right. So the data has been poured out. So I don't want to get into this yet. I want to do a separate video on data, but you're getting third-party data, and so there's no story for you here. You're just buying it off someone else. So you have to make it appear as your third-party data is actually first-party data. All right. So again, use your common sense. Everything needs to be addressed here. These questions need to be addressed again. It's very important. You need to have a story, and you need to have everything make sense. Okay. You need to be able to answer these questions that they're going to ask you. And they may ask you like, what type of emails are you sending? So that's another one. What type of emails could you be sending? All right. Will you be sending transactional? So transactional is just, you go to a site, you sign up for like, I don't know, an ebook. I mean, you sign up for like, register for an account, right? You have to sign up for a free account, do something. And you get a welcome email saying, hey, thank you for registering, here's your login information. That's a transactional. Or when you purchase a product on someone's store, you get a receipt back. That's transactional, okay? A transaction has occurred, and you are receiving emails through that, from that transaction. You also have newsletter. So when someone sends a newsletter, like, get our weekly newsletter on, fashion tips. That's a newsletter. You also have marketing. And that's just, you send out, marketing emails, buy this thing, register for this thing, and you get paid for it. So that's marketing. And you also have subscription. Subscription is kind of like a monthly thing, right? So you sign up for like, a monthly members area type of thing. And they're going to be charged monthly, and you're going to be sending emails based on that subscription. But subscription and transactional is kind of similar, right? But newsletter marketing, those are other two. So they want to know what type of emails you'll be sending. These are the type of emails, but they may also want to see, like, do you have an example of any emails you will be sending? So you need to come up with an example that fits into the story, the fake company story that you're going to be making. So for example, my site, I'm going to be making a few emails that give out, fashion tips. Really it's just a matter of me coming up with a few, beauty tips and things like that. I might make up like a few fake emails, just grab someone's, grab some content around the web in your niche and just put it into an email format, and that's it. And you can host it. It depends. Like I said, as far as like that goes, I don't want to get too involved in how to do that, but you can make an email, template pretty easily online, and your best friend is Google on that. All right. If I was to go into every single detail, this video would be like literally 4 hours long. So I'm trying to keep it under an hour. So you need to have examples of emails that you'll be sending, and you need to perhaps maybe store them somewhere. What I like to do is I actually like to see if you look at this, something like this. I like to actually store the email like in a folder. So this folder is an email folder on my server, and I just kind of make it look like an email. All right, and you can just give them a link to your sample emails like that. You can just put it in. Dreamweaver is pretty good too. You can create a new HTML document, and you can just grab the email here in the body and mess around. Like I said, everyone has their own way of doing it, but you definitely need to have some emails ready for them to see. I would recommend that. It's not a requirement, but I would have that information and ready and let SES know where they can go to see some sample emails. All right. And I would make them just content related, right? You don't want to do, maybe, if you're doing like a Shopify store, then transactional would work very well. And then you can just send them an email showing the transaction on your site. All right. That's pretty easy too. You can do like a mock, like if you do a Shopify store, you can do a mock order, and then you can have the email go to, and you can just grab that email and then send that to SES. Like I said, the details of how to do that, have to put some legwork in, do some learning, but it's pretty easy. And again, if you don't know how to do that, or you are lost on how to do it, you can always go to Fiverr or Upwork to get someone to do it for like $5-10, so something pretty cheap. All right. But again, we want to appear as if our third-party data is first party. All right. And that is about it as far as for you making your own site from scratch. Now, you also can swipe. Why is this 24? So you also, which is what we usually do. I mean, we don't always do this, but we usually do this, is swipe someone else's site. And usually they have all this stuff already done. So all you need to really do is change, download the site on your own hosting account, just swipe, and change the logo. Change the logo, make up a new logo, and buy a domain similar to the domain you swipe. So if your site is, makemoney.com, you might want to try to look for moneymaking.org, and then change the logo to this domain. That is part of it. Now, since you'll be using someone else's site, you're going to have their information on this and who is. So I would make sure that, well, I'm sorry, that's not the case because you'd be using your own domain. Yeah, so so that's pretty much it. And this is why this is so easy. The only problem with this is you don't know who used what site. You know, we use hundreds and hundreds of sites and people are doing this, so I don't know what site has been used already. And so, you know, and then, yeah, so you have that to worry about. But aside from that, you know, you would want to have these questions answered, but it's a lot easier to do it if you're swiping someone else's site. And this is the way to go. I would probably start out doing it this way. However, this presents, you know, you still have to have hosting. So let's go to hosting. So you have to have hosting. You have to have a domain, you know, similar domain to their domain. And you have to rip the site down. As far as ripping the site down, you can do that. You can get that done for like, you know, maybe this is $30. You know, Vanad can do this. We have our own outsourcer who does this for $30. But you can go to Upwork again and say, hey, I need to swipe, I need a logo change. But this is something that Vanad can definitely do. And you just have to give him the hosting and domain, and then he'll switch everything for you. And just make sure the site has the stuff. It has, it has a newsletter, right? It has something to send emails. It has an opt-in form on the site, right? So sign up for a newsletter for a product or whatever. And then here you can just kind of make up the stuff. All right. But this doesn't always work. All right. Swiping someone else's site doesn't always work. And some things you got to do. You know, I would remove any social media links. Because the problem is that if they go to your site and they see it go into another company's site, you know, Facebook, you know, yours is makemoney.org and it's makemoney.com on their social media links on your site. You need to remove all of that stuff. Addresses need to be changed. So usually like address, personal information needs to be changed. So personal information. So you have personal information on the site, right? You have like address of the company name. You have the company address usually. Like in the privacy policy or terms and conditions section of the site, you have this information. So all the stuff needs to be changed to your stuff, right? So company name, address, personal name. Usually if you're using a blog, you know, they usually have the person's name, like, hey, this is Sarah, this is my personal blog, yada, yada, yada. Probably want to change that to whatever name you're using. So if you're using, you know, if your name is Barn or James or whatever, you want to have that information matched. So if you're using your address or your friend's name or friend's address, you want to have all the information changed to your stuff, all right? You don't want to leave their information. So when all that stuff changed. And that's why I try to stay away from ripping someone else's site that has like person's face in it. You know what I mean? Like you want to just, because you're going to need to change out all that personal information to your sort of information, all right? So again, it's usually common sense. If you're swiping somebody else's site, you need to just change out all that stuff, right? You need to change out the logo. You need to change out the social media links. You need to remove them. You need to change information to your name, to your address, to your company name, et cetera, all right? And then put it in your server. And then when you, and the whole point of this too is when you sign up for SES, you can use your own email. So instead of, you can use your email from your domain. So if your domain is makemoney.org, you can create, Tom at makemoney.org. And so this shows ownership, which is the whole another part of this. But this is very important. See how long the video? 30. Okay. All right. So the whole point of using your own site. See, even if you use your own site from scratch or you use somebody else's site, you own the domain. So this proves ownership of said site. So you own the site. So they know you own the site because you have access to make an email from that site. And they know that you own that site. Now, if you use something like a free address, like tom@gmail.com, and then you give them makemoney.org as your site, there's no way for them to know you own, for tom.gmail owns makemoney.org, unless they go in and check the who is and see it says Tom here. So which is why in the next step, I want to show you a way to do it where you don't have to do anything as far as ripping sites or doing anything. Again, it's hard to get a site approved doing it that way, but it's been done before. So when you use your own site, this is the most important thing to do, is actually make an email from your domain to use to register. And then SES said, okay, these guys own the site because they made an email. They made a tom@makemoney.org. So he must own the site because he registered with tom@makemoney.org and he clicked the registration link. He created a password, he logged in, and he owns this particular site. All right. So that's how they know you own the site, because you can't make an email from somebody else's domain. All right. And the last way to do this is to not do any of this. All right. Just use someone else's site. All right. This is use someone else's site. So what you can do is just say, hey, I'm gonna use somebody else's site, and you just use a free email. So you don't have to, so that basically is no buying domain, no buying hosting, no ripping site, etc., etc. And you use a free email, something like tom@gmail.com or tom@yahoo.com. And then when you go apply for production access, you just answer these questions, and that's it. Now, the issue with this is that they don't know you own the site. So what we try to do is, if you use this way, is just to number one, look for a site that has open who is. All right. 2, use that info to register. So basically, what's happening is this is okay. So we're saying, like, okay, I'm gonna say that this is my site. I'm gonna pretend I'm the person who owns the site. So if you go and say, okay, I'm gonna use this site, and this person, I looked up who is. The person name is Sarah Connor. Then you're gonna just say you're Sarah Connor. So you're gonna make an email like sarahconnor@gmail.com, and then you're just gonna use their site. So this is really the easiest way to do it. You only need $1 because for SES, because that's how they check to see if the account is good or not, by verifying your identity by actually charging the card $1. So this only takes $1. You really just need to find the site real quick, look at who is information, who owns the domain, use that same information, name and address, and use that to register for the site. All right, so use that information. So those are the 3 ways to do it. Like I said, each way has its own, each way has its own pros and cons. Obviously, this is the biggest pro, but this will more than likely get your account not approved. However, it's the easiest way to do it. Making your own site is the toughest, but it's probably the best way to do it if you can go about trying to get approved. But these are all things you need to address. Now, this is just for the making an account. Now, we need to talk about, I should have did the other video first, but we need to talk about the making the account, like the stuff you need, like, for example, credit card information, we need to talk about that. So I'm going to say that for the next video. But this is after you get past that. And again, my apologies. I didn't have time to sit down and write a whole syllabus, just because I'm busy doing other stuff. So, but yeah, these are all the different things that you need to do. Use someone else's site. So Yeah, so this is what I would start with. But again, like I said, this is probably the easiest way to get denied production access. But this is the way that we usually start with if we're lazy. All right. So that is pretty much the 3 different ways to do it. These are the questions you need to answer, and this is what SES is going to expect from you to know. And in the next video, I'm going to go over actually what you need to start before you even get to this process. This is just after you actually, get all the billing information already established. So in the next video, we're going to talk about like, identities. So, if you're using your own identity, if you're using somebody else's, billing IPs, user agents, etc. I'm going to show you how to make an account and make multiple accounts if you get banned. So if you go in and make your account using your own personal information, you get banned, then I'm going to show you how to create multiple accounts and create multiple identities. All right. So hopefully this video was informative. Again, my apologies. Like I said, there's a lot of information in my head, and I didn't have time to sit here and write out a whole syllabus. But if you have any questions on this video, let me know, and see you in the next video. Peace.